Jai Shri Krishna to all of you and welcome to the program. As you know, the name of our program is Attain Happiness and Peace through Bhagavad Gita and meditation. And every session of ours has meditation along with the Bhagavad Gita's teachings. But the purpose of whole program is to ultimately attain the happiness and peace, which is Sat Chit Ananda. And under that umbrella, with blessing of Swami Hariharji Maharaj, with his guidance, I started this program many years ago. I would say almost like 35 years ago. And my presentation is mainly accompanied with PowerPoint presentation. And it has been since then, because it was very much liked. Though when I went to giving the programs with the saints on the same diet, I had to ask for forgiveness from the other saints because my teachings are more based on the practicality rather than the verses and more detail about it. How to practice it, how to transform ourselves, and all these books you see it. Like, for example, my question and God's answers. I almost became Arjuna in that time. If you had asked me who was I would say Arjuna, because I was living totally in the mindfulness of Arjuna. So today's session again is based on that book and also with the Yoga Beyond Asana, the complete guide for blissful life. And the goal of a study group is the self-transformation, self-improvement, not focusing on others, what others do, how they do it, why others behave that way. In the entire Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna never asked Arjuna to do because Duryodhana is doing like this. Arjun, you have to do it because that is your responsibility, that is your dharma, that is your duty, that is your kartavya. As a Kshatriya, you must perform your own duty. And since he was shattered, he went into Vishad, and Lord Krishna, with his teachings, brought him to where he said, Nashto moha smrati labda tvat prasadan maya yev sthito asmin gat sandeya karishe vachanam tav. Ultimately, he says, now I'm calm, I understand everything what you have told me, and now I'm ready to perform my duty. So the whole Bhagavad Gita takes us from confusion to make the decision. Remove all the turmoil in our head, in our heart, in our emotions. But ultimately, Gita is practice, practice, practice. And that's why the focus of the program is practicing. And Swami Hariharji Maharaj always said that those seeking enlightenment on the various problems of life, Gita is the guide for them. So Gita, to us, to me, to all, that it helps to enhance the quality of life, our day-to-day life. And of course, it takes us to more calmness and equanimity, and ultimately the liberation from fear and attachments and doubts. And the today's session, to remove these negativity in our mind, emotions, one of the technique is we are going to focus on meditation. But that question comes many times. We think we are doing meditation, but are we really doing the meditation? Or are we doing the contemplation? So this session is based on Bhagavad Gita and Gita's and also Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga. And of course, as I mentioned, both of my books. My Question and God's Answers, chapter 6, is mainly from focusing on the Dhyan Yoga. Although every chapter of Bhagavad Gita is yoga, means union with ourself, who we are, calmness. But whatever disturbs us, all those 18 chapters guide us how to get out of it and ultimately come to the equanimity, calmness, peace, love, compassion. So today's session will be basically what is contemplation, type of contemplations, what is meditation, because meditation is only one type, and the difference between contemplation and meditation, and then what are the basic requirements of the meditations are, and what is the science behind it. Being myself as a medical scientist, I always look into the physiology of the body, emotions, psychology behind the humanity. So it's a combination of many, many factors here. And then what are the benefits? Benefits are so many, we can't even count, but still we will address some of them. But what is the ultimate purpose of some meditation is go to the ultimate liberation of samadhi. And then we will follow the Ananda meditation. So again, as I said, I always start Bhagavad Gita sessions with this verse, where Arjun was seeking for help, guidance. So he prayed to Lord Krishna for this advice, though he did not know he's the Lord Krishna. So he just as a friend, he asked him, because by listening to him, he definitely felt that he is his guru. He is the ultimate answer to him. He will help him out. So he asked him, Karpanya dosho pahat swabhava. My heart is filled by weakness, by sorrow. Paschami tvam dharma sammur cheta. My buddhi is totally mura. I totally lost my memory, who I am, what are my strengths are. Therefore, Paschami tvam dharma sammur cheta. I am asking you to tell me what to do. Shishyaste aham shadi mam tvam prapanyam. I am your disciple now. So he becomes from friend to disciple. He basically surrenders to him, but he asks him for the advice. And then Lord Krishna really opens up and he gives him a long advice all the way when Arjuna says, Nashto moha smriti labda. But in that verse also he said, Tvat prasadan, with your grace. See, he is expressing his gratitude toward him. He is thanking him. But Arjuna, when he got fearful, doubtful, totally confused, when he was in totally vishad, filled with toxins in his system, could not think, then Lord Krishna helped him and gave him the prasad of ultimate freedom and understanding who he is. So Gita, to me, is a spiritual guide to self-discipline. And it is in chapter 6. This is a discipline chapter, self-discipline, dhyana yoga. So meditation is the way to discipline the mind. Though Gita is the spiritual guide to self-discipline, but meditation is the one which is a way to discipline, where we are all, as you can see, all these worldly desires, attachment, greed, insomnia, diseases, stress, weakening of his immune system, all those negativities are here. But through meditation, we become so peaceful and we feel liberated. So why I use also the Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, the 8 limbs, because it gives you very systematically. It takes you all the way to Samadhi with 8 simple steps. Though I call it simple, but very systematic steps. First is Yama, Niyama, Asanas, Pranayam, Pratyahara, control of senses, breathing, body postures, which people are more familiar with body postures. They think yoga means body posture, but the Yoga Sutra means it has all those things are important. But for meditation, these are the most important one. All these are very important. Without that, we cannot have the calmness. But dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So all these 8 steps must be practiced. And even it says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 23. And here is a presentation with the yamas. Yama has the ahimsa, satya. This is all the 5 pillars of yama, means how we should behave with ourselves. What are the norms we have to follow? But how we are going to observe and behave with others, like ahimsa, non-violence. All these things are there which we have to follow. And then, of course, asanas. You can see pranayam, pratyahara, where you learn to control your desires, senses. And then, of course, dhyana, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. These are the ones we will be talking more about it because we have spoken the other ones prior to that. So 3 stages of meditation, the most important one. And dharana is contemplation, dhyana is meditation, and samadhi is the ultimate union, experiencing the true Sat Chit Ananda. So dharana. Dharana is basically living in awareness. You are listening right now. You are focusing. This is called concentration. But later on, if you think about this, what we talked about it, that is more like a contemplation. But meditation, you go beyond that, both of them. Like you watch a movie, you are concentrating on the movie. You even don't know how fast the 2 hours are gone. But then when you are still working, doing other things, the movie dialogues, movies, what happened in the movies, the things keep going in the mind. So that is more like a contemplation. We lose the awareness of who we are. We are just thinking about that movie. But that's not the meditation is. That is basically concentration and contemplation. So according to Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, and Patanjali's Yoga Sutra has the 4 chapters, mainly theory and how to practice. And what are the benefits? And the practice parts goes in the 2 chapters. And then the last chapter is what are the benefits and how you get into samadhi. But fixing the mind on one point is called dharana. Just like, people do a lot of meditation and they call it's a meditation. They do it on the candle, focusing on the candle, focusing on the flower, all the external things when we focus on and trying to go inside. That is contemplation. That is dharana. But that is very important. Without that, we cannot reach to meditation. So learning to focus, like good example, which we know from the story, Arjun, he focused on the eye of the bird, of the fish, moving fish before the Swambar with Draupadi. So that kind of concentration is called dharana, contemplation. So the goal of dharana is to train the mind to be a single pointed focus and still. Goal is still to be stillness, but single pointed. On the other hand, what is meditation? It's a dhyana, it's the 7th step. As contemplation, 6th step. But next one is the 7th step, which is a meditation. And again, think about meditation. Meditation, mind is station. So when mind is station, mind is focus, that is meditation. But what it is on focus on it, that is the key point here. So in meditation, the focus is only on the supreme power, nothing else, no candle, no flowers, no mantras. Though mantras take us there, But when you are in the deep meditation, everything disappears.
मेरा
Please,
ऑफ हो गया था ना।
please mute yourself. Okay. So meditation is a path takes you from miseries to moksha. Love, peace, anandam, where we ultimately feel the peace. But in summary, what does meditation do? It disciplines, it cleans and reprograms the software of our mind. Our mind is full of many things, which we will talk in the next slide. But meditation, discipline, M stands for mind, E stands for the energy, balance, ego, equanimity. And D, it takes us from desire to divinity, not from desires to disasters, but desires to divinity. And then we go inward. Meditation is going inside of us, not outside. And station, attention, focus of mind. So meditation, again, the station of mind. So meditation is one of the spiritual practice that takes us to moksha. But how? Through self-purification and self-transformation. And again, as I say it in one phrase, self-transformation means self-improvement, or आदत बुरी सुधार लो, हो गया meditation, हो गया bhajan, everything. It's all that the adats which we have developed, which causes us a lot of turmoil. So purpose of meditation, again, discipline the mind, contemplate, that leads to equanimity. And it makes us relax, because that's what the contemplation does. It makes us relax. But ultimately, meditation is the one which makes us feel, I am that Anandam, I am that Narayan. So, itna acha bhajan hai na, Nar se Narayan. We become Nar se Narayan. What is Nar? Nar, where mind is filled with a lot of negativity. And Narayan, where all is totally purification happens, and we are totally in love, feeling the love for ourselves, for the humanity, and we are basically in peace and experiencing, I am Satchitananda. But at this healthy body, healthy mind, stress-free life, happy and peaceful. That's what the purpose of meditation is. So in summary, contemplation versus meditation. So contemplation, we focus on external things. When we sit for meditation and all that, we just basically do it like mantras or tataks in meditation, many other, we call it. Contemplation is now, if you talk to people, they will say, we are doing meditation. Are they really doing meditation? Are we really doing? That's the question we have to ask ourselves, because meditation is only going within and feeling totally calm, with love, filled with love, peace, anandam, and no other thoughts. But when the other thoughts come, it is a contemplation. And so, type of contemplation or meditations. Actually, meditation has become a business nowadays. You look at it, so many classes, so many charges. Some people say it's a eating, and they just name it like eating meditation. You sit, do the mindfulness for eating, which is contemplation, which is good. But don't think that you are doing the meditation. Anti-aging meditation. Focus on this. Awareness meditation, body meditation. There are so many meditations like Diwali meditation, Valentine meditation, New Year meditation, Navratri meditation. These are all the contemplations. Unless we go inside and we become oneness, ultimately, the meditation leads you to oneness. You do not feel the difference between you, your body, your light, anything. You totally go into a different space. So how to get there? That is the one question which you might be asking, and I used to ask all the time. And Gita explains it. Wherever we put our dhyana, our mind goes there. And again, dhyayeto vishan punsa sangasteshu pujayate sanga sanjayate kama kama krodho vijayate krodha bhavati sammoha sammoha smriti vibhrama smriti branchad buddhi nasha pranchati, which means whatever we put our dhyan, we want that thing, because most of the time we put our dhyan on the external things. So if I put it on house or car or sending children to different schools or anything which is important to live in this world, but our dhyan is there. And when our dhyana turns into our desires, and if the desires are filled, we want more. So greed becomes more greed, more ego. But if they are not fulfilled, kama means more desires, krodha. If they are not filled, they give birth to krodha, anger. And once we are angry, we forget. We don't lose our memory. And that anger not just lose our memory, it reduces our immune system. It gets a lot of toxins in our body and blood pressure problems. We lose our sleep sometimes due to desires and not getting it, or getting it and thinking about more. So desires take us to disasters, not divinity. But where it is start from? It is start from dhyana. So we have to think about what we think about it. Otherwise, all these problems are going to be part of our life, and they are. But we have to learn how to deal with them, how to make a best use of them. Nothing happens in life for no reasons. So ultimate results with all these stress. And we all know what stress means. But Bhagavad Gita says so beautifully that is our mind our enemy or is our friend? And again, I'm going to read that verse to you. It is in chapter 6. It's a beautiful verse, chapter 6, 5 and 6. Udher atma atmanam na atmanem vasade. Atmanem hi atma bandhu, which means one must lift himself by himself and not degrade himself, because self alone is the enemy and self alone is a friend. So we must make our mind into friend, because mind, if you think about mind, whatever our thoughts are, they go faster than the speed of the light. With every breath, one thought goes in, every breath coming out, one breath out. And per day, how many breaths we have? 24,600. So how many thoughts per day? 49,000 plus thoughts. So we are just going from one thought to another, though the same thoughts keep coming. So if you say that we don't have that many thoughts, we don't have, of course we don't have that many thoughts, but we are thinking about the same thing over and over and over. So mind, again, it's like, here is, what is mind? See, mind is speed. How we make the best use of it? Think about, if you put mind upside down, it becomes a wind. The speed of the wind and the mind is the same. But what do people do with the wind? They put the windmills and convert that wind into the energy. Similarly, we can convert our mind, our thoughts into the divine thoughts, and we can make them friends. So what is mind? Mind is a bundle of thoughts, which is called subconscious. It's a memory bank. It's a master of senses and human being. In Gita, it says the mind is the master of the senses. So if we control or make a best use of our mind, we can also make the best use of our senses. But the mind is the medium to connect body and spirit. So very restless, turbulent, powerful, stubborn, and hard to control. Arjun says to Lord Krishna, mind is so chanchal. You are telling me to control my mind, and it is so chanchal. Lord Krishna says, of course it is chanchal. And that's why I'm going to guide you, teach you how to control your mind, how to make the best use of your mind. In chapter 17th, verse 16, it's a beautifully, it says that we should make a mind our friend, but how? And we will talk further on that one. But basically, mind has the three parts: conscious mind, subconscious mind, and supreme conscious mind. Look at this mind. It has the three parts. So conscious mind, whatever information you are getting right now, it is going to your conscious mind, your current present. But later on, it will go into your subconscious mind, your storage, which we call it, that become your data in the computer of your mind. And that subconscious mind, for example, if somebody tells us something, or maybe has said us something when we were in our childhood, or our teacher, or something good or bad, we always remember that. Some old memory, if something goes wrong, that old memory comes back. If we ever have fallen, if any situation comes, immediately it says, okay, I hope I don't fall again. That fear comes. At the same time, if somebody has given us a lot of love and compassion, and some grandmas or mothers and all that, then if somebody uses the same word for us, all of a sudden our memories goes back. That how my mom used to treat me, how my grandma used to treat me, all those things. Because all the information is in our subconscious mind. But unfortunately, the information which we have it in our subconscious mind, which are the negative ones, those are the ones we remember most. We create the resentments, and for that we have to get out of it. So for conscious minds, contemplation, practice goodness, like I say 5 monkeys, 5 senses: think good, see good, hear good, speak good, do good. All those 5 monkeys we have to practice. And then for the subconscious mind, to clean our subconscious mind, we have to work on the meditation, balancing the energy of chakras, prayers, and then comes to samadhi. So how to meditate? Chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita. But prior to that, there is a preparation in chapter 5. At the very last 2 verses of chapter 5, it says beautifully here, this is the key to start the meditation in life. It says, Sprashant kratva bhair bayam chakshu chachev antre dhruvo pranapan samo kratva nasabe antarcharino jitindriya manobuddhi muni moksha parayana vigat ichha bhay krodha sa sada yukta evsa. Which means a person certainly liberates himself and attains liberation from all these problems. By how? By controlling the senses, means putting the mind into proper dhyana. And also it says not only that, whatever our face is, most of our indriyas are on our face. So it says what we should do with our breath. Our breath has to be very equal to north and south. Both nostrils, we should be breathing in samta. Actually, this samta word in Bhagavad Gita 63 times has given in many different, like Prajahati yada kaman sarvan manogatan atmanev atma tushta sthit pragasya doshte samta. Everywhere it says samta, 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 means we have to be more neutral. We have to be more in the center rather than ping pong, like sometime in the right side and sometime in the left side. Some we are happy, unhappy, kabhi khushi, kabhi gum, and we like this, we don't like that. So this likes and dislikes, all that we have to be more on the neutral part of it. So, and once we do that, then vigat ichha bhay krodha. Then all vigat means all this disappear. Our worldly desires, too many early unnecessary desires. Without desires, we cannot live in this world. We must have desires to move forward. However, uncontrollable desires, too many worldly desires create disasters in our life. So we have to control those. And by doing meditation, all of those things, fear, worldly desires, anger, all those things get controlled. So meditation, Bhagavad Gita, again, as I said, chapter 6, how to do it, when to do it, where to do it. And also in Patanjali's yoga, in summary, it says postures, asana must be very comfortable. We should not be torturing our body and working from the muscles. Accessories, minimum accessories, we should use it. And then the place must be very clean. And time, morning, noon, PM, night, every minute. I call it contemplation, living in awareness is the every second job. It's not like morning, evening. Nitya yukta upaste. That's what it says in Bhagavad Gita. Every moment we should live in that thought of divinity, because thoughts are there. We have no control on it, but we should substitute those thoughts with the divine thoughts, good thoughts. And then the mantra, Om mantra, is the leash of the mind. How to control contemplation. We are doing so many contemplation things, but to get to the divinity part, that's where the Om mantra comes. That connects us, that takes us to next step of meditation. And then practice, practice, practice. And also the prerequisition is we must have a balanced life. So whatever we do, whether we eat, whether we sleep, whether we do entertainment or work, whatever, it has to be balanced. We have 24 hours. 8 hours should be given. And I told you I'm so busy. Though it seems like imbalance, but I have learned to balance it even while working, because that's what the key point is here. We have to balance it. And then, of course, as I mentioned, asanas, pranayam, meditation, and prayers. So it takes us to healthy body, healthy mind. And ultimately what we are looking for is stress-free life. And that's what the meditation gives us. Though we do get it to certain degree with contemplation. But this is the movie which is very beautiful. See how it goes, how we should sit, how we should put our hands, mudras. But main focus here is breathing. The key here is nasabe. You know, when we read that verse where it says, our breath is supposed to be samta. It's supposed to be same speed on the both sides of the nostrils. So just see how the eyes are kept here. And see the focusing on the breath now, it's coming. But when we focus on the breath, look at this, all these balloons, all this representation of the thoughts. All of a sudden, the thoughts which even we did not even think about, that we were thinking about it, our mind is bombarded with all the external thoughts, negativity, whatever happened in our life. All of a sudden, like rain is coming on our head with all those thoughts. So we have to bring it back to the breath again. Keep bringing it. But the longer you breathe, then again, the struggle is between the breath and the thoughts. But you have to continue to focus on your breath, not on the thoughts. So you will notice that by breathing, your breath becomes shorter and shorter. And instead of going down, now it's going from nostril to the head region. This is what happens during the meditation. Your breath becomes shorter, calmer, and it goes, merges with the light in the forehead with the chakras, and with 6 chakras, which is called Bindu chakra. And then you will feel you are so connected with the supreme energy on the top of your head. Sometimes you feel like some ants are walking in your head, but this is the energy is flowing. And see how it is going, and it is going through complete body. So why Om? Om is the one, as I said, it takes us from contemplation to connection with the supreme power. A, Anandam, U, union, and M, moksha. And in Bhagavad Gita, again, it says, Om iti aksharam brahma, vivaran mamu smarnam, prayati, satyam deham sa yati paramam gatim. Means supreme power, the energy of supreme power. As our kids, young grandkids say, Om means God without body. And to me, that is the best definition to me. But the energy, what we feel with the Om, we must experience it. And the energy of the Om is Anandam, love, peace. We should bring that in our daily practice. And it's not that we just get the Paramam Gati when we die or when we have the liberation. Every moment we are in that consciousness. So that's why I call it Om Sulabha Parth Nitya Yukta Yogina. That is what the Bhagavad Gita says. And again, Om is the path. Om is the inner voice of the soul. Om is the sound, the universal sound, where people is also known as Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati. It's all many, many names, but Om is a conscious, subconscious, and super consciousness. So Om is awareness. Om is real name of your real name. My real name is Om. Om is everything, and Om is in all and one and all in one. So Om is love, peace, Anandam. And to me, Om is a path one. Just see how what is Om doing here. It's removing the negativity. Let me start one more time. See the negativity in the body, and with the Om vibration, the energy, how negativity is getting lighter and lighter. And it takes us ultimately to Samadhi. See, every cell of the body is filled with Om.
Yes.
Yeah, so ultimately, the bottom line here is we have to practice, practice, practice. And the benefit of meditations are the physical health, emotional, we get out of emotions, negative emotions, and then we are connected. So Swami Chidananji always says that meditation is the best medication for all the agitations. So enjoy your life, not daily life, but beyond that. And it gives us a self-awareness. Who I am, where did I come from, where will I go, how will I go from here to there, what is the purpose of my life, how I'm going to achieve it. And of course, it awakens the Guru within. So ultimate benefits. It creates the Anandamay Shakti, balance the energy, burns all the past sanskaras. This is a way to burn the old sanskaras, old thoughts, old resentments. And it heals the body and also our emotions. Not only that, study shows there are more than 1 million publications on meditation and also contemplation, because contemplation does calm the body, but does not connect you to the supreme power. But the meditation is the one which connects you to the supreme power. But all these processes like dharana, they actually heal our body to the point our genes, genes are also recovered. It totally transforms our habits. Dhyana, like Steve Covey has taken this 7 habits of success from dhyana, how to use your dhyana effectively and make best use of your dhyana so you can change your dhyan or whatever your thoughts are. We speak that way, we work that way, our actions are reflected, and eventually it becomes our habit and that becomes our destiny. So he has done a beautiful job on that. And then Deepak Chopra, of course, he has done that similar work. They both did that work together on. So again, meditation is the leash of the brain. We should follow those practices, but do not just stop on to contemplation. So meditation, self-awareness, purification, and then, of course, ultimately Satchitananda. And then, of course, the Samadhi, which is a total 8th step of Patanjali Yoga, settle intellectually. And which means Samadhi. Sam means Samta, and Adi means Buddhi. Our Buddhi becomes totally equanimous. So we are totally in the state of blissful state. So all these need to be practiced together. So dharana is also very important. Without dharana, we cannot do the dhyana. And then Samadhi. And when we actually get so much practice of dharana, then one does not have to go through dharana or contemplation. You can immediately go into meditation. So but that comes with a lot of practice. So hallmarks of liberated person after doing all this, basically free from unnecessary worldly desires, unnecessary worldly anger. These are all necessary I'm talking about. We have to have a certain anger, we have to have a certain desires, we have to have a certain, but we have to make a best use of all these. We learn to make a best use of our fear and jealousy and all that. So now we will sit down for about 10 minutes and do the meditation. So let's all sit down, as you saw there, very comfortably. Just sit down very comfortably. Align your back, your hips, neck, head. And here we are going to do one more thing. Our eyes. Look the eyes backward. Your eyeballs, take them backward. See, as it says in that verse, in chapter 5:27, Chakshucha antre bhurma. So our chakshu means eyes. Let's roll them backward and see the backward. And focus on the breath, keeping the eyeballs backward. Take a deep breath all the way down to your stomach. Hold it. Exhale through your nostrils very gently. Take another deep breath. Exhale gently through your nostrils. Breathe deeply again. Hold it. Exhale. And now breathe normally. With every breath, smile in, smile out. Smile in, smile out. Continue to focus on your breath. And focus also on your smile. Continue to smile with every breath in and out. This is all the preparation for meditation, contemplation. We are contemplating on our breath. And now we are going to move toward meditation. And let's recite the Om mantra 3 times, loudly or silently. Take a deep breath. Om. Now feel the energy in the body with the Om mantra. Now every breath and Om mantra are together. So each breath going in is combined with Om mantra. What they call it, सांसां दी माला नाल सिमरा मैं तेरा नाम. So make this every breath joints with Om mantra like a mala. The energy in the mala is their supreme power. So each breath is combined with Om mantra. And filling the throat region, the lungs, heart, stomach area, hips, all the way down to the toes with this pure Anandamayi Shakti generated with Om mantra. This is the pure healing power, energy, which heals every cell of our body. Feel the energy on your back, on your neck region. to your jaws, ears, cheeks, eyes. And the Bindu chakra right in the middle of your eyebrow. Focus on that light. See that beautiful golden light, or whatever color you are seeing it. Remain over there. Merge with that light. You might have started feeling some sensation on your head region, like ants are crawling all over. You might feel some sensation on the other part of the body. Just let it go. Stay within golden light and feel the sensation on your head region. Just let that sensation go. Just be with your light region. You have nothing more to do anymore. Anandamay Shakti is filled in your body. If mind shift or drifts in any other direction, then utilize the Om mantra. Otherwise, just stay in the middle of your forehead region with that golden light. You have already reached home. That Om takes you to home, and your home is right in the middle of your head region and your forehead region, which is called Bindu Chakra, the third eye of Shivji. That's your home. Nothing else needs to be done anymore. Just enjoy the oneness. But continue to smile with each breath. The space between two thoughts or two breaths is the stage of samadhi. So stay in the samadhi stage. The longer your space between two breaths, the longer period of samadhi you can be in. Stay in this blissful state, Anandam state, feel the love in your heart. And peace in your mind. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace for my body, peace for my mind, and peace for the universe. Universe, supreme power, and I are one. Now rub your hands and put it on your head. Massage your head, tap your head very gently, your face, because your hands, your body is filled with that pure divine energy. And now rub your hands again. Make it small cups. And open your eyes very gently. Thank you. Thank you very much. And we just did the ABL technique, which is I call Anandam technique. Is A is for Om, breath, and light. So this is a combination of three. Anandam, which is smile, breath, Om, and light. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Satya ji.
It was
बहुत धन्यवाद.
excellently done. Very well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Jidan. Thank you, Ji.
Thank you
very much.
for
Thank you, ma'am.
joining.
Thank
And
you.
enjoy the blissful state.
Thank you.
That is the key.
And bless
Enjoy
and
the
bless God.
blissful state as much as possible. Stay in that blissful state.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Satya ji.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Deepak Singh
Thank
ji,
you.
thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. आप आए
Thanks,
बहुत अच्छा
thanks,
लगा. रानी जी आप आई बहुत अच्छा लगा. And continue to come and enjoy, but stay in the blissful state for whole week
मैं
until
आती हूँ,
meet next Sunday.
आपसे बात नहीं हो पाई.
कोई बात नहीं, हम अब आपसे बात नेक्स्ट वीक करेंगे. मुझे अभी थोड़ा जाना है, तो नेक्स्ट वीक आपसे बात करेंगे. और नहीं तो फिर आप फोन कर दीजिए, मैं आपसे बात कर लूंगी. ठीक है, ठीक है.